Hi, welcome back to Books and Bocadillos. My name is Mariandrea, and today I have a video that I haven't made in a while. I like from time to time to talk about cookbooks, and I am a cookbook collector, so I like sharing some books from my collection, talking about recipes that I'm excited to try for the first time, or if maybe they're on repeat and I just can't stop talking about them. So it's been a while. Why don't you grab a cup of tea, something to drink? I'm drinking a kombucha here, and get cozy and ready to talk about cookbooks and fun foodie adventures. So, today I want to talk about the Lent season, a bit about my upbringing. So, I am a mixed bag when it comes to religion. When I was a kid, I lived in Mexico and for about, maybe half of my childhood. And we we were Catholic because my dad was a very devout Catholic. And then we immigrated. My dad stayed behind. My parents eventually divorced. But when we came, my mom became head of household and she's Pentecostal Christian. And so even though the faith traditions changed in my home, like we stopped going to mass and doing all the Catholic rituals. But the one thing that always stayed the same that my mom continued to observe was Lent. And so now as a grown adult, I'm not practicing in any faith at the moment, but I am a person of faith and I still observe Lent and Easter, and I love the food of the Lent season. So today I want to talk about my favorite like foodie memories of Lent cuisine. So the funny thing about Lent, um, I'm vegan and I'm also gluten free, but I'm vegan. A lot of the foods that I remember being a part of the Lent season were very like pescatarian. So it was a lot of fish, seafood, and vegetables and fruits. Um, so it was a lot of what I loved because as a child, I wasn't really into meat, eggs, things like that. Like I avoided. So during the Lent season, when everybody was avoiding, all the meats and the eggs and all that stuff, like, well, people don't necessarily avoid egg. They mostly avoid like red meats. But I really felt like the season of Lent was a lot of the foods that I liked, which were more like raw, like salads and vegetables and fruits and my kind of food. So as an adult, like I'm, pretty much eating like Lent kind of foods all the time. But I like that during that there's a season that feels like I get to connect with my ancestors, with my culture, through the traditions of food during the season of Lent, leading up to Easter. So tomorrow, my mom will be coming over to my house, and we're going to be making capirotada, which is like a traditional bread pudding dessert. Excuse me. And it's basically like a layered dessert dish. So think of it like a lasagna, where you have toasted, almost stale bread, like hard bread, in like layers with fruits, like fresh fruits. Like I like apples and bananas, some dried fruits and nuts sprinkled in between layers of the bread. Also, in my family, we tend to add cheese. I don't think a lot of people like cheese. Like I know people that cannot, like don't like the cheese in their capirotada, but it's basically essentially a very humble dish. You're supposed to use whatever you have on hand. So you could throw, it's like anything goes kind of a dish. Like you could throw whatever it is that you love in from your pantry or your refrigerator and just like layer, like have the layers of bread with like whatever dried fruits, whatever fresh fruits, whatever nuts or seeds you like, and then just like layer it up. Then you cover it in a syrup. And the syrup we usually like make with molasses and cinnamon, anise, um, sugar, maybe some brown sugar. Um, you could use maple syrup instead of sugar. And you just like get a syrup going where it thickens a little bit, and then you pour that over the dish. Some people make large batches, so they'll make like a casserole dish. I'm probably gonna make mine in like a loaf tin or like a brownie tin, just to have like a smaller quantity. Um, and yeah, so you just create this beautiful blend of like all the sweet stuff, all the like crunchy sweet things that you have, that you've just put together. So anything goes. We'll be doing that tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's also fun to eat with like a little scoop of ice cream. I won't go into the ice cream, but that is always kind of like a nice thing. If you know, you know. Um, and then I'll go ahead and talk about my cookbooks. So I'm looking at which one to start with. I have a couple here and I have a couple down here too. So I'll start with this one. This is Decolonize Your Diet by Luz Calvo and Catriona Rueda Esquibel. And so from this cookbook, I have I've read through this. I've done a lot of recipes from here. Um, I love it. Oh my gosh, this is so good. I just saw it. Like, this is not necessarily like, this is a year-round recipe. It's not necessarily a Lent recipe, but I love this. Hibiscus flower tacos. Oh my gosh, we make this like all the time here at my house. My mom loves these tacos. You use hibiscus flowers. And then it's really great because you like cook the hibiscus flowers and then you drain them, but you keep the water that they soaked in and you make jamaica, just like hibiscus tea. My mouth is watering. These are so good. Highly recommend if you have hibiscus flowers on hand and you want to make like a hibiscus tea, save the flowers, the dried flowers, and just cook them with, you know, pepper and salt and like whatever like taco seasoning you love. So, so good. Top with cilantro and avocado in a tortilla or a tostada. Perfect. But anyway, back to Lent. So the season of Lent is you're supposed to use stuff that you already have, and it's usually of this whatever's of the season. Um, and it's a lot of like salads and like fruits and stuff. So I'm making this kick-ass chayote salad with pickled red onions. So chayote is like a Mexican squash. It's like a small squash. You peel it, you dice it, and you mix it with, excuse me, cucumber and corn and tomatoes and cilantro. And if you like it spicy, with like jalapenos or serranos, whichever chiles or chili peppers you prefer, cilantro, lime, lemon. They add a little bit of olive oil, depending on what your take is with oil. Take it or leave it. I don't think it matters that much. So good. If there's any other seasonings that you like, I mean, this one says that you could add mint. I probably wouldn't add mint because I don't know. I don't think I want a minty salad. I mean, mint tastes good, but I don't know. It depends on my mood. This one also, this recipe also calls for ground, organic stone ground mustard. I could see that being yummy in here. And pickled red onion. Yeah, pickly. Any kind of any pickled like fruits or vegetables that you have might blend well. Kimchi, if you're into kimchi, that might be like a nice little twist. Then there's nopales. Nopales are cactus, and my cactus plant hasn't given me any like tender baby cactus leaves or growth. This is what I'm talking about. And these right here. Pallets, I guess. Paddles. They're called paddles. Um, and you you like dice them, cut them up, dice them, cook them in a little bit of water, and you can make a salad. In this Decolonize salad, they made it colorful by adding pomegranate seeds and corn and carrots, bell peppers, and then seasoned with pepper and salt. They did add a vinaigrette, which is clove, sea salt, red wine vinegar, white pepper, and olive oil. You could add whatever vinaigrette you like. You could also do like a cilantro, lime. I think that might taste good. This is the classic nopalito salad, and this is probably the one I'm going to be making when I get nopales. It's a salad, so it's using the a lot of like raw components here. So you would have the nopales. You you do cook them. You can cook them. I've also sometimes just have frozen them and then thaw them, and like they kind of get cooked in the freezer. But if they're fresh, you can cook them in hot water with salt, and the salt will help to take away some of the like the how do you say it in English? Um, Nopales will seep like this, like I don't know what the word is in English, but they'll seep like a clear film, like just like I can't think of the English word. I'm so sorry. But you know what I mean when you cut them. And I don't want to say slime, but it's kind of like a slime, like a clear like slime that they seep, that they just give off naturally. And so you're supposed to boil them with a little bit of salt and then just rinse them really well and kind of help the sliminess go away. And then see here they said slippery texture. Okay, so that's one way of saying it, the slippery texture. You toss them in a salad bowl with oil, garlic, onion, tomatoes, cilantro, and oregano, and then you sprinkle with lime juice and chilies, and a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper to taste. It's really easy. It's an easy salad. I like to eat nopal salad like on a tostada, and I'll talk more about tostadas in a little bit. I'm also planning to make this coliflor here, ceviche de coliflor. So it's like a cauliflower ceviche, and it's basically like cut up cauliflower with like corn, and this one doesn't ask for corn, but this one has cucumber and tomato and cilantro, and of course lime. And the lime kind of helps to cook the cauliflower, like just penetrate it. So it's so good. You season it, salt and pepper, and then you serve it over a tostada. Tostada is like these dried, dehydrated tortillas, and that's what it looks like. It's a nice little snack. You could serve it with rice and beans, and that's a nice little lunch. So I'm probably going to be making that sometime this week. And then I also would like to make these. So I love a sope. And although like sopes are not necessarily of the Lent season, I think that they can be really fun to make during Lent with like non-meat, non-meat like ingredients. So sometimes like traditionally sopes, maybe you'd see a lot of like they are topped with like meats or like meat like replacements. But this one, what I liked about it is that it has mushrooms and corn. That's very vegetable and earthy. And I think that this would be a really good addition to like the usual Lent menu that I tend to follow. A lot of like for me, commonly it's a lot of like the ceviches, the shrimp cocktails, but the shrimp cocktails I don't use the shrimp, I use the mushrooms instead. So like I'll be making like a shrimp cocktail the cocktail sauce, the tomato puree, ketchup, lime, with like cilantro, of course, but also like mushrooms instead of shrimp. Um, this one, the sopes have mushrooms, maitake, mushrooms, and corn. So the sope is like a masa flour. It's thicker than a tortilla, so it's like thick. It's a little thicker. It's not as big. It's kind of small. They usually tend to be about this size, and you can like lightly cook them on stovetop, like with like a pastry brush. You can cover them in oil and like cook them on stovetop. You can also bake them and create like these like round discs, and then you top them with whatever you like. But these mushrooms with corn feel very Lent-like to me, so I think I'm gonna add this to my menu for the rest of the Lent season. And what else? I talked about nopales. Oh, with nopales too, Dora's Table. Dora's Table is a blog that I follow. She has a recipe for tortitas de camarón with nopales. So tortitas de camarón are like very light, wispy patties of like, instead of shrimp, she uses shredded squash, shredded zucchini, and nori flakes. And the nori flakes gives it that sea texture, that taste of sea. And that's what we love when we crave, like a lot of the Lent dishes are very like seafood based. So if you are vegan like me and you're not eating fish, you can just give it that flavor, that sea like flavor, that flavor of the sea, by using like seaweed nori flakes. Sorry, I am like my running out of breath here. So yeah, that's something that I'm going to be making. So the nopales, you cut them up and then you cook them in like a chile sauce. Like you could use a lot of like a mixture of red chilies, like chile ancho, chile árbol, chile cascabel. You cook them like you cook the chiles, and so they release the the, the liquid, right? The water becomes deep and dark, and then you can like the chiles will soak in the hot water. They'll become like nice and tender. You can take the seeds out and then blend that mixture with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then you just cook the nopales in that chile mixture with the tostito, not tostadas, with the tortitas de camarón. So that's one that I would like to try from that vlog. Once I get some nopales, I'm going to see if I can find anybody who has nopales that they can either gift or sell. Yeah, so that is the decolonize your diet. And then I have the sweet potato soul cookbook by Jenne Claiborne. It's really cool that, so Jenne Claiborne's book is mostly like black soul food, Creole, a lot of Creole recipes. And I think it's fascinating how like similar different cuisines are. Like there's things that I can relate to. So she has some recipes that I just love. So she has these Happy Hearts crab cakes. I I feel like these crab cakes are very similar to like the tuna cakes that my parents would make when I was a kid. So I'm gonna try to make these. And these crab cakes are made with hearts of palm, cooked chickpeas, and panko breadcrumbs, some vegan mayo, jalapeno, Old Bay seasoning, plum vinegar, Dijon mustard, and safflower or grapeseed oil. And they're served with a salad. So I think I'm making these tomorrow for lunch, and they look amazing. So they remind me of stuff that I like that looks familiar to me. Um, I also, okay, so I love a hummus. And although I didn't grow up eating hummus, hummus is more of a thing that I've enjoyed as an adult. For me, it's like a staple. And like, I cannot imagine life without hummus. I eat hummus on like a weekly basis. It always is something I need to have in my pantry, like in terms of like garbanzo beans to soak and make into and cook and make into a hummus or the store bought hummus, which is hit or miss depending. But Janae has this recipe for sweet potato hummus, and I'm so excited to try this. And she also has a black eyed pea hummus that I'm also wanting to make. The reason why I like and recommend hummus is because it is a great like spread. That's the word. It's a spread. So sometimes on like a tostada, for example, like, which is something that I'm so used to eating during Lent season, because like you just eat tostadas with like topped with whatever ceviche or nopales or whatever. You add a layer of hummus to the tostada before you put on like the ceviche or whatever topping you're gonna, whatever filling or topping you're gonna put on it. And the spread just helps kind of keep things together a bit. You could also put guacamole, but a lot of the like ceviche, cocktail de camarón, like you top those with a diced avocado. So for a tostada or even like a sandwich, like a fish sandwich, there's another one here. Provecho, for example, this is a really great cookbook for like traditional recipes, and they have like a torta, like torta de pescado made with tofu. And I have another recipe similar but different. So like the one that I have is like a tofu sandwich, and then you add vegan tartar sauce, and it makes it taste like a fish sandwich, and that's what I love. So I'm going to be making that during this Lent season, but they have a torta recipe in here. It's also really good. So this one, this torta de tofu is made with barbecue sauce. So it's not Lenten necessarily, but I'm gonna make the tofu one, the one with tartar sauce, the tofu fish sandwich, and that's gonna be really good. And I recommend this cookbook for like a lot of the staples, a lot of things that you need to have on hand. If you don't have recipes for, this is a really good cookbook. In terms of like, for example, like pico de gallo. I know pico de gallo is pretty common and people can, you know, buy it at the store now. But they have a lot of like really good, if you need help with like different salsas, they have a lot of different salsas in here that are just staples. They have like cilantro cream, vegan cilantro cream. It's so good. And they have chipotle as well, chipotle cream sauce. This is chipotle. So it's just nice to have recipes if you don't already have them. And this recipe, I haven't tried this one, but I'm going to make it during the Lent season. Oat milk horchata. I just feel like horchata is very also humble, kind of like the capirotada. The horchata feels like a very humble drink. Um, it's very like use what you have, and like it uses rolled oats and cinnamon, and those are very like staple items. I really like. They have a lot of agua frescas and a lot of like nice drinks in here. So if you're looking for a good Mexican cookbook, I'll just show you like. I mean, it's if you are like good in the kitchen, you maybe don't need these recipes, but if you just need a framework, this is just a really good starting point for like basics. So that's it. I think that's it for now. I've gone through some of the recipes I'm excited about for Lent. I've already made some. I'm trying to think. I made cauliflower tacos. I made a ceviche. Um, But I'm gonna make the cauliflower one. I made a hearts of palm ceviche last week, but it's always like ceviche's fun. You can play with it. You can make it fruity. You can make it spicy. Um, my mouth is watering. Like I just love, depending on your mood and your taste, what you're craving, you can add like mango slices or like strawberries to it, or you can just totally make it like more vegetable, like onions and pickly and like jalapenos, that sort of thing. Make it spicy. It's so much fun to play with. So if you don't like cauliflower, hearts of palm is also a really good one to try for ceviche. I have 5 minutes left, and I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I'm missing. And I think I've got it all. I'm about to go to the grocery store to pick up my grocery order, and I have new subscribers. So if this is your first time, your first video, I don't always talk about food. Um, I talk a lot about books that I like to read, but I am a cookbook collector. So from time to time, I like to come and talk about my cookbooks that I have in my collection, the recipes that I love. So if you like this video, definitely come back and stay tuned for another cookbook corner video. And that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are finding good books and good food. All right. Hasta la próxima.